Welcome back to Flint Creek Transport. Today we're in the shop. I'm going to show you a little bit what's going on. We have a walk-in floor in here, and we're pulling out some of the slats. So it's kind of cool to see that process and show you a little bit more how a walk-in floor works and what are the replacement parts. All right, guys, so this is trailer 312, 312. This is our oldest Titan walking floor. This is the second one that we bought in. The first one we actually sold, it was a 46 footer. So this trailer has a replaceable floor in it. This is pretty much a standard floor that I get on all of our trailers. So there's 26 slats in a walk-in floor trailer, or in this. This is the floor that I order, and that's what I get. There are some different floors you can get with less slats, a lot more heavier duty. What he did here is he pulled this slat out a little bit, and now he's pulling out the rest of the way. Put that bolt in there so you get a good grab on it. So he's just pulling it with a forklift, and I'll hop up in here and show you guys a little more what it looks like. So I think this trailer's a 2012, which would mean that this trailer's over 10. This is what, 12 years old. These floors over time, they wear. After hauling loads and loads of mulch and product, it starts to wear out, right? So we swap the floor. When we swap the floor, we do the exact same thing. We pull the floor out and flip it end for end. So we pull these slats out, flip them around, and push them right back in. And this floor has already been done. So we've already swapped this. What also happens here is these walk-in floors, they'll tend to bust out here. This is the drive unit right in this area, the three different drive units, and they will tend to break out. So it gets really thin, the floor gets really thin, and what happens is the bolts start to push through the aluminum. So we have to weld on these extra pieces of aluminum to give it strength. Also what happens is the rubber seals, so you can see right down through. You can see the floor down there. So these seals wear out, and so this floor, like there's certain products that this floor couldn't haul anymore, such as grain and salt, some of those things. It'll just start to run right out the bottom. So that's the other thing of why we want to keep good floors in the fleet, to be able to, haul different products. Think you still got a bolt in this one? Yeah. Hate when that happens. Yeah, I think there's one right here. Oh, no, it's not. It's a washer. It's just the head.
Oh, yeah, those get stuck in there here and there.
No, actually, no. I think you're good then. That was my bad. It just looked like it with that thing sticking in there. I didn't see there was a hole in the center. So yeah, this floor has already been flipped. What's underneath these slats is a plastic bearing. So that's what you see here. This is a full length bearing. Are we replacing the bearings too?
I think so.
Okay. So these bearings though, they're a full length bearing. They go from front to back. Just over the drive unit here, there's no bearings. We really, really like the full length bearing. There we go. It's kind of the process of what happens. So some of the next steps, I'll keep you guys in the loop, but some of the next steps is getting this all cleaned off. We'll take this up front, we'll get it washed, get it cleaned up, get it looking good. A lot of these look pretty good. Sometimes they can get thin, like this one. Some of those might get replaced. But anymore, this floor, This floor will keep the good slats out and the rest is pizza money, right? So one last look at this trailer, right? One of the things that I really like with these Titan walk-in floor trailers is that they are all aluminum. The other brand of trailers we were using, they would be FRP sides, and then the cross members underneath would not be aluminum, they would be steel. So they were, in a matter of 10 years, they were shot. Literally, cross members had holes rusted in them. It was really, really bad. This 12-year-old trailer, cross members are still just fine. We're always welding on the frame around the axles, and with these aluminum trailers, no need to do that. The aluminum, I know eventually in time will weaken and start to crack, but here, you know, the most we do is we'll reseal right in between where the steel goes against the aluminum. So we'll reseal that, but otherwise, it's pretty solid. So we're putting a new floor. Floors are fairly expensive. I want to say a new floor, shipping is always a big part of it, but it's right around that $12,000 to $15,000 mark for a new floor. And you got labor, but we have the floor sitting here. We actually bought a floor in. We kind of planned on doing this quite a while ago. We got the floor here. So this shouldn't be a huge project, but just if the guys stick at it, we should be able to get it done fairly quickly. So 151, remember I showed you guys the framework. 151 starting to go back together. They're drilling some holes, getting that thing ready. A couple services in here. Oh, check this out. We got a new tire cage. And this might be one of those that can, actually I'm not sure what that is. We'll figure that out. But this thing here is, we want to have like 2 or 3 of these cages around the shop, because every single tire that we blow up, I want to be able to put in that cage. Check out the pipes on that truck. All right, guys, so we just put new pipes on that truck. That was truck 118. It was very, very similar to truck 104, but it had different exhausts on it. We just put, the exhausts were completely rotted out. So we put new exhausts on, and we just went with straight pipes, but with a muffler underneath the cab. So it's not a complete, like a full muffler kit, but it still has like a smaller muffler. So it still sounds good. It sounds really good, actually. Morning, guys. Wanted to show you just a quick update on this trailer. So we got the floor completely out. I'm standing here at the back, and want to just touch on a couple things. We're probably going to end up replacing a lot of the bearings. So these, as I was saying the other day, these are full-length bearings. But what happens is, I can show you some of these spots. Right here's a spot. It tends to wear through, right? So we got some spots where it's wearing through. So right there, there is, well, right here's a spot. There's just different spots like that wear through. And also sometimes there's a spot in the floor where they drop a big chunk of wood or whatever, and there's a dent. So we try to straighten that, the subframe. So this right here is the subframe, and this subframe is a lot heavier duty than what was on our previous trailers before these. So a lot of times what would happen is the subframe was screwed to the cross members, okay? And that would, those screws would break, they would rust, they would come off. There's actually, looks like a bead of weld in there. These are welded to the cross members. Subfloor also would tend to break with this being so much heavier. Running forklifts and stuff across this does not break at all. So we've been happy, been very happy. So thankfully we can just pop these full-length bearings. They'll pop right off, pop new ones on. And then back here at the floor, this has been kind of a thing for me where I've really contemplated putting the drive unit up front. I've quoted it out. I've been very close to putting that drive unit up front. But a lot of times what happens is, like, there's some benefits to going up here, but then there's also some cons for going up here. Some of the benefits would be is when you go to flop the floor, so the further back you get on the floor, the more wear you get. So the further front this drive unit is, the longer your floor will stay bolted on. Remember some of the troubles that we've been having? The bolts would come loose, or the floor would start to peel there where it bolts down to the drive unit. So that eliminates a lot of that, because the floor is going to be thicker back here. So once it gets thin, wears down, and we have that issue. And the other thing is it'll probably be a little bit nicer to work on up here, but from the outside, look on the outside, you definitely see a little bit more, because they would have to extend the frame rails a little bit more to come front here, so they could tuck that in there. It's like we have all of our other trailers like this, and we have done a lot of this. Like, seems like we're not hauling quite as many loads per day with these trailers of mulch, because we have more trailers. We're doing a few more backhauls, and they're kind of doing a lot more different things. So that's why I've been just kind of leaving it. I want to show you too. So this is this drive unit. You can see there's a lot of junk built up in here. This is a combination of salt, manure, compost, grain. I mean, it's everything, right? And they're going to go through here, clean this up. A lot of this part, well, there's a lot of aluminum, but then a lot of this is steel. So some of these are going to have to get replaced. This is steel. As long as that looks good, it'll be fine to weld new pieces back onto that. But this is a buildup of over a long time. Just stuff gets pushed down through. We'll clean this up. We'll also probably run the wiring from front to back. Usually the wiring gets put in. Actually, this is the hydraulic lines, but oftentimes they'll put the wiring in here. But that's a solid piece on these. On the Wilkins, they used to do that. So I'm not sure where they run the wiring, but there is a line that goes from front to back. Usually when we swap the floor, we end up swapping that out. We'll check over everything else, obviously on the drive unit as well, but for sure get this cleaned up. So hopefully next update, I'll have this floor or a lot of this stuff cleaned up, and the bearings will be off it. You can see actually even a little bit more. So one other thing to note, these plates here on the back are wear plates, boomerang plates they're called, and they do get wore down. But the nice thing with aluminum trailers is when you have, you can weld new ones back on. Up here, we've had some issues where, I say issues, but it was where a piece of steel or something went through the wall or went into the wall. And this is a double wall, so it broke through the first portion, but not through the outside. So what they'll do is they'll weld these pieces on, and as long as they keep them thin, there's no issues. So that's another thing that I love. With FRP, you can't really do that. And back here, they're replacing all these guides. They get wore down over time, and they're gonna get these swapped out. So, all right, guys. So I'm back in the shop today, just doing a quick update. The walk-in floor trailer that had the floor ripped out is still out of the shop. Or we pulled it out to work on some other stuff, but there's something else that I wanted to update you guys on. One is actually two things. So let's go in here. This is our parts room in here. So I go back to where Trevor is. But I wanted to show you guys some fuel. So we have two big fuel tanks out back. I'll show you real quick. There is the small tank, that first tank, and then there's another tank, a bigger tank. So a 5,000 and 10,000. All right, let's go inside and talk about this fuel. The fuel, this is the fuel out of these two tanks. So Trevor, the fuel to the right came out of the big tank, right? This one come out of the big tank, and then this one come out of the small tank. And this one's looking pretty nasty. I mean, that is quite a bit of junk in there. This one's not so bad. Still got a little bit of it in there, but not bad. Much bigger tank. So this has been an on-road tank all of its life. Years ago, I'm trying to think when we sold the grinders, probably 6-8 years ago. 2018, 16? Anyway, it was about 8 years ago, is when we switched this 5,000 gallon tank to from off-road fuel to on-road fuel. So I don't know if that had something to do with it. I do half think at one time we might have put some engine oil in there. I'm not sure. I don't quite remember, but anyway, that tank's looking pretty bad. And this is upstate New York. So if you guys would be, if we'd be in Texas or in the South, this would be no big deal. But we have, we get cold temperatures. So on top of just plugging the filters, you can also have fuel gelling, and this does not do good for the filters, that black stuff. And our guys already notice when they pull out of the small tank, they have more issues. So we got to get that cleaned out. So that's a project that we need to get done, hopefully in the next couple weeks. I think Trevor's working on a place.
Hopefully by the end of the week, we'll know something.
Yeah. So try to get someone like with a vac or something to suck that out. But it's pretty crazy that fuel coming out of those tanks looking like that. And the other thing too is you've been noticing, you know, so we have some Fleet Guard filters, right? And Baldwin filters. And when we were running our grinder, we're running out of this tank, and we would always notice too that the grinder, we couldn't run Baldwin filters on that because it would constantly, it would plug the Baldwin filters up. They'd have a lot smaller micron filter. So we'd always run Fleet Guard. Fleet Guard would let more fuel through, let the pieces through a little bit easier. So we always ran Fleet Guard, and then so we're noticing the same thing with the drivers and with the fuel now. So some of the guys say the Fleet Guards last longer, but it's really, they're just letting more particles through. I know filters are probably a big thing. Fleet Guard, Baldwin, Cat, some of them are the same. I don't know all the other filters out there, but we always run Baldwin, or we try to run Baldwin as much as we can. There is, we that comes in from Kenworth, right?
We get it through, yes, Kenworth or Old Filter Services.
Regional, right down the street. Sometimes we'll run down there for filters, but they're Cummins, they are Fleet Guard. So we'll run Fleet Guard in a pinch, but for the most part, it's Baldwin. Oh, one of the things that we're going to look at too is fuel mileage. So we'll see if this affects the fuel economy on the truck, so we kind of track it and see if that changes. But typically in the winter months, though, our fuel economy goes down. Mm-hmm. So the trucks are idling a little bit more, fuel treatment, they cut the fuel, different things. But this can be a serious problem in the wintertime with cold weather yet on top of it.
Yes.
As a mess. They're shook up a little bit.
Looked like that.
Wow.
That's what came out.
Look
of
at
those
that.
things.
And that'll separate. You can see it separating already.
Yeah, see the line coming down
Yep.
here?
It's crazy to think that we're running that fuel in our truck.
It'd be worse, but we do treat every time that fuel truck comes up.
Right.
We put a...
Oh, yeah, we're pretty religious about treating. And even so, we didn't even have that much trouble with our fuel. Like, we've had, I'd say a lot of premature filter changes, right?
Yes.
Before the services. And typically they would last till the service.
We're getting a lot better. We were running a different type of treatment. What we're running right now seems to... We got probably 3 months that things were just clogging. I mean, some guys couldn't even go a week. And it was moving everything through the tanks. We had LG in some of the truck tanks that took care of a lot of that. But of course, you gotta catch that somewhere. So it was coming through the filters. We were taking tanks off and cleaning them. Hopefully, we don't have to go through that again.
For sure. All right. Well, there you have it. Little fuel lesson for today. This is the next thing I want to show you. So check this out. Two lifts. We're rocking now. We finally got the last one in. So now we get to tear them apart and see how they operate, make sure everything is working. Love these things. So now this is going to be our second set. Our other set, I think this is a 19,000 pound set. The other set is a 14,000 pound set. So we really don't lift that much heavy stuff. I mean, a truck weighs 20,000 pounds. Our dump truck, maybe a little bit more than that. You know, when you can lift 14,000 pounds per column, just in 2 columns, you could easily lift it up. So we could lift up a loaded rig if we wanted. And this trailer we had sitting out back, and look at this. We had some tree branches fall down and poke holes into the roof. So we gotta weld that. Actually, here's some of the wood. We gotta weld that back on. Get some steel or some aluminum. Put it back together. All right, guys, and I'm back in the store. I wanted to show you real quick. We got a brand new collector card for this month of November. If you recognize this truck, this is the guy from JLR3 Trucking. He's got a YouTube channel. You have to check him out. He's got this 2023 Kenworth W900. So that is the card for the month of November. Hope you guys enjoy. Check it out, hammerdowncoffee.com. The way you get one is order any coffee and it will come with a bag. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Peace out.